The voice on the other end of the phone sneered. How old is he? And he already has heart disease. Xander Sue seriously replied, I'm not too sure about that. I've heard that even 5 or 6-year-old kids can have heart disease. Everyone is born with different physical conditions. It's probably because Jian Shang was born with some physical defects, so it's not strange for him to have a heart attack. What exactly caused his death? Xander Sue sighed, realizing he couldn't deceive his friend with any story. After hesitating for a long time, he finally had to tell the truth. I heard he was beaten to death. All right, I understand. After saying this, the person on the other end was about to hang up, but Xander Sue quickly stopped him. What else is there? The person asked. Xander Sue stuttered, You know now, so what next? Next? The voice on the phone seemed to think for a moment, then said, Next, it's none of your business. Hey, I've told you so much. The least you could do is tell me what you're planning to do. See you next month. Are you coming back to the country? Xander Sue felt a sense of unease. Yes. You're quitting your job in the United States? I've resigned. Jobs can be changed, but what if a person is gone? How? How are you coming back? Is your visa ready? I don't need a visa. I haven't canceled my household registration. Oh, right. I remember now, you haven't gotten your visa yet. But, wait, what are you planning to do? Tell me first. After a long silence, the person finally said, Do me a favor. Tell me, I'll definitely help. Find Jasmine gone and persuade her not to be too sad. If she has any requests, I hope you can help her. I know you're quite capable in the county, and now you're the only one who can help her. All right, I'll definitely do as you asked. But you have to promise me, when you come back to the country, come see me first. Okay, I promise you. After the call ended, Xander Sue didn't know what the person on the other end was thinking. He felt somewhat uneasy, as if he was always anticipating something to happen. But then he thought, Jasmine Gone is a fragile woman. She just needs to be comforted properly to get through this most difficult period, and then nothing serious will happen. As long as Jasmine Gone is fine, he believed his old friend wouldn't do anything drastic upon returning to the country. He only cared about Jasmine Gone. That's right. When the time comes, he could play matchmaker. After all, Jasmine Gone's husband had died, and she was only 35 years old. She couldn't possibly remain a widow forever. If his old friend came back to the country and could use his sincere feelings of over a decade to move Jasmine Gone, and they ended up going to the United States to live, wouldn't that turn a bad situation into a good one? The more he thought about it, the more excited he became, even feeling a bit proud. Jian Sheng, your death was indeed a bit wrongful, but since the dead cannot be brought back to life, if you have a spirit in heaven, I urge you to persuade your widow to remarry my old friend. In this way, I'll make sure to bring good wine, good food, and gold ingots to your grave every New Year, Qiming Festival, and Ghost Festival. However, such good things still need careful planning. For now, the first thing to do is to visit Jasmine Gone. It was nearly late autumn, and the sun set early. It was almost 8 o'clock, and the sky was already completely dark. The mother-in-law had fainted several times today and was now asleep upstairs. Jasmine Gone hadn't eaten all day, feeling no hunger, but she forced herself to cook for her son, fed him, and then coaxed him to sleep. After settling her son, Jasmine Gone sat at the bedside, touching her son's cheek, feeling bitter inside. She didn't know how many more times she could watch her son like this. Ever since she made that difficult decision, she knew her days were numbered. After sitting for a long time, a cold light flashed in her eyes. She stood up, moved a stool, went to the wardrobe, stood on it, and with great effort, pulled out a box from the top. She gently placed the box on the table and slowly opened it, revealing a box full of laboratory equipment. Since getting married, she hadn't done any chemical research work, but as the chemical queen who was long famous among her classmates in her school years, she had an inseparable affection for chemistry. Even after leaving her job and starting a life of supporting her husband and educating her son, she kept this equipment as a memento. She once thought these items would become dust-covered collectibles, memories of her hard-working, dedicated, and passionate youth, until her son reached middle school, high school, and if she still remembered her past knowledge by then, she could take them out and tutor her son in chemistry. Unexpectedly, she would need these old friends now. She stretched out her slender hand, took out a handleless large-mouthed enamel cup, felt the temperature on the cup, and reminisced about her student days. Inside the enamel cup were several beakers of different sizes, which she carefully took out one by one and placed on the table. There were also alcohol lamps, test tubes, flasks, dry pots, distillation tubes, thermometers, balances, measuring cylinders, iron stands, etc. Looking at these, she genuinely smiled. It had been too long since she had seen these items. All right, what do you use these for? Black powder, the most traditional gunpowder from ancient China, has a very simple composition: potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal. These ingredients are easy to obtain. However, black powder has a small power and explosion range. Of course, if one wants more power, making a large explosive pack would work, but that's too easily detected. After thinking for a while, she decided to use TNT. TNT, or trinitrotoluene, is the most powerful and stable of all basic explosives among its kind. Moreover, her graduation thesis discussed the process improvement for the production of trinitrotoluene. The steps to make explosives flashed through her mind like scenes from a movie. To make TNT, one needs toluene and ultra-high concentration fuming nitric acid, as well as concentrated sulfuric acid. Toluene is easy to extract from other petrochemical substances. Fuming nitric acid is a banned product, and only 65% concentrated nitric acid is available on the market. Only when the concentration reaches above 86% can it be called fuming nitric acid. It's simple to produce industrially with professional equipment. She only had these simple devices, so extracting it wasn't impossible, just troublesome. No matter how troublesome, it needed to be done. Most chemical substances were created by past chemists in laboratories using only simple instruments like alcohol lamps and beakers. So, as long as one wants to make it, despite more steps and troubles, it can ultimately be done. All right, she would secretly buy materials in the next few days and make some TNT. Having worked in the chemical industry for several years, she knew several places where she could buy chemicals for high school experiments. A fist-sized amount would be enough to kill them all. Of course, it might include herself as well. She gave a bitter smile. She didn't understand circuit knowledge and couldn't make a remote-controlled bomb. Her only chance might cost her life. Just then, someone carefully knocked on the door 3 times, followed by a man's voice. "Is Jasmine gone there?" "Who is it?" she asked cautiously. It's me, Xander Sue." Jasmine Gone quickly put the items on the table back into the box, covered it with a cloth, then went out, turned off the room light, and opened the front door. Xander Sue brought some fruit, placed it on the table after entering, and looked at Jasmine Gone somewhat awkwardly. "It's you. Please, have a seat." Jasmine Gone pulled a stool out for him. Xander Sue touched his forehead, hesitated for a long time, and said, "I heard something happened to your family, so I came to see how you were." Jasmine Gone looked at him gratefully and sincerely said, "I really appreciate it. We've known each other for many years. I'm not good at saying other polite words. I just hope you can get through this." "Sure, I will." Jasmine Gone's gaze wandered, her tone slightly odd. Xander Sue didn't notice much of this, assuming she was just overwhelmed with grief. Xander Sue thought for a moment and said, regarding this matter, "Do you have any plans? How are you going to deal with it?" Jasmine Gone scoffed. "What else can I do? The person is dead. I still have a mother-in-law and children. What can I do?" Xander Sue nodded. "Yes, that's true. You must take care of yourself first. Do you have any requests? I'm not familiar with the town, but I can ask someone to help. Whatever you want from the town, I'll try to fight for you." Jasmine Gone slowly shook her head, declining. "No need. I appreciate your kindness. All we can do now is ask for more money. I think the town will agree." Xander Sue pursed his lips, glanced at his watch, and said, "All right, whether it's now or in the future, if you have any difficulties, just come to me. I'll definitely help. It's getting late. You must be tired today. Get some rest early." Jasmine Gone nodded weakly. "Then I won't see you out." "Okay." After speaking, Xander Sue turned and left the He family. Sitting in the car, he felt something was off. In his memory, Jasmine Gone had always been a frail woman. How had she become so strong now? Indeed, with the head of the household gone, her father-in-law reportedly died when Jian Xing was just a child, her mother-in-law nearly 60, unable to bear the grief of losing her son, and with a young son, now the household could only rely on her. If she didn't become strong, who else could support this family? She mentioned asking the town for more money, but their family's financial foundation was not bad. Even though the man was gone, the family had previously made a decent amount of money from a small auto parts factory, owning houses and cars, with several properties bought in the county and city areas. Now that the man had just died, why would she think of compensation first? He thought again. It was normal for Jasmine Gone to have such thoughts. As a woman, powerless to change the situation, with a child to take care of, the days ahead would indeed depend on more money. Well, as long as she gets through this difficult time, after this phase, he would think of a way to mediate, hoping his old friend and Jasmine Gone could end up together. Thinking this, he felt relieved and drove away. A week later, the funeral was over. Their family did not hold a banquet. Firstly, because of the wrongful death, the family had no mood to host a feast. Secondly, after this incident, many relatives were afraid of being implicated and only came to the He family symbolically, not daring to have further connections with them. After the tragedy, the warmth and coldness of human relationships were clear at a glance. That day, a cousin and several small leaders from the street came over to discuss compensation with Jasmine Gone. Seeing them, the mother-in-law started crying and cursing. Jasmine Gone persuaded her mother-in-law to go back upstairs. She chuckled in her heart. Everything, let her, the current female protagonist, take charge. One of the leaders cautiously probed, "When can we discuss? About the compensation for your husband?" Jasmine Gone calmly replied, "The specific amount, right?" Yes." Jasmine Gone scoffed. "Which of you can make the decision?" "This." The people looked at each other. All being minor officials, none could make a decision. The big leaders naturally didn't want to do such ideological work. One of them thought for a moment and said, "You can tell us your general demands, and we'll discuss them with the leaders." Jasmine Gone straightforwardly said, "My husband's compensation is $200,000, not a penny less." Hearing this, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Originally, they had decided internally that if the other party asked for too much, the death compensation would have to be bargained down to under $500,000. They didn't expect her to only ask for $200,000. Wasn't that a huge bargain? One of them immediately agreed and promised her, "We will definitely fight for your conditions with the town. I believe there won't be a big problem. If you think it's appropriate, when can we sign the agreement?" "Who will sign the agreement with me?" "Deputy Mayor Lee Gang and our street leaders." Jasmine Gone nodded. "I have another condition." "Tell me." "Deputy Chief River from the police station must personally apologize to me. Afterwards, he must offer incense and kowtow in front of my husband's spirit." This. The person couldn't make a statement. Hearing her mention River, afraid she would reveal the matter of River leading the beating to death of He Jianxing, her cousin hurriedly said, "The dead cannot be brought back to life. This. I think it's better not to." Jasmine Gone glared. "Cousin, I won't cause you trouble. My husband is dead. What's wrong with the police station coming to offer incense? Shouldn't they do at least this much?" Another person hurriedly persuaded, "I think this request is not excessive, right?" "It's not excessive. I think there should be no problem. How about this? When do you think it's appropriate? We'll get the procedures done." Jasmine Gone said, "Tomorrow. But when signing the agreement, River must personally apologize to me, otherwise all bets are off." The person considered for a moment. After all, River had caused such a big trouble. The town and county leaders were very angry, especially Deputy Director Greg Wong of the County Public Security Bureau had already arrested River. And the prosecutor's office was also very tough, wanting to execute River. But the police chief Vincent Fan's family had complex connections in the county. This time they used a lot of resources, and finally, using the excuse that the incident would become national news if exposed, they convinced the main leaders to suppress the matter. Regardless, River had caused a big disaster this time. The minor street official thought about it, raising the He family's demand for River's apology to the leaders. They would definitely adopt an attitude of calming things down, asking River to comply and smooth things over. He said, "All right, I'll call you this afternoon to confirm." The next morning, Jasmine Gone settled her mother-in-law, saying everything was fine with her handling it. She also looked at her son, holding back tears, reminding him to listen to his grandmother. As scheduled, she arrived at the street's office building, wearing makeup, carrying a large shoulder bag. Today, she was very beautiful, just like her student days. She was led to an office on the west side of the first floor, where 3 people were waiting for her. Sitting in the middle was Deputy Mayor Lee Gang. The other two she didn't recognize, but it was clear they were also leaders. Jasmine Gan was not the least bit nervous or intimidated. She pulled over a stool and sat down, looking at the three people opposite her. River didn't come to apologize to me? Li Gang pointed to the crew-cut fatty on the right. He is River. River leaned back, clearly unhappy. After his identity was revealed, he sat up straight, reluctantly said, "Sorry." Jasmine Gan scoffed, no sincerity. Li Gang hurriedly tried to smooth things over while lightly patting River's back. River took a deep breath, stood up reluctantly, and bowed, "Sorry." Jasmine Gan coldly ordered, "Kneel down." "What did you say?" "I said kneel down." Li Gang was about to hold back River, but River, the impulsive man, couldn't contain himself, slammed the table and yelled, "You damn widow! Ungrateful! Looking for a beating?" Li Gang hurriedly pulled him back, and he finally calmed down, sitting down huffily. Jasmine Gan was not intimidated at all. Instead, she smiled and said, "That's right. I've become a widow now, but who caused this? All right, let's not talk about the past. My husband's death compensation of 2 billion. Did you bring it?" Li Gang said, 200,000 is no problem. We've already discussed and approved it. The money will be transferred to you in a few days. Today, let's first sign the agreement.